रामानुजदया पात्रं ज्ञानवैराग्यभूषणं श्रीमद्वेङ्कटनाथार्यं वन्दे वेदान्तदेशिकम् लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्म व्यामोहदस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य शरणं प्रपद्ये माता पिता युवतयस्तनयाः विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य न कुलपतेर्वगुणाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं शरश्च महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणु परकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशवनं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम् गुरुमुखवनदित्यप्राहवेदानशेषान् नरपतिपरिक्लृप्तं शुल्कमातातु कामः स्वसुरमवनवन्द्यं रङ्गनाथस्य साक्षात् द्विजकुलतिलकन्तं विष्णुचित्तं नमामि விண்ணார்தடமதில்சூழ் வில்லிபுத்தூர் என்னும் முனுக்கால் சொன்னார் கடற்கமலம் சூடினோம் முன்னாள் கீழறுத்தான் நுரைத்தோம் கீழ்மையினில் சேரும் வழியிருத்தோம் நெஞ்சமே வந்து பாண்டியன் கொண்டாட பட்டபிரான் வந்தார் என்று ஈண்டிய சங்கமெடுத்தூத வேண்டிய வேதங்களோதி விரைந்து கிழியறுத்தான் பாதங்கள் யாமுடைய பத்து நீளாதுங்கஸ்தனகிரிதடி சூக்தமுத்போத்ய கிருஷ்ணம் பாரார்த்தியம் संश्रुति सदशिरसिद्धमध्यापयन्ति स्वोच्छिष्टायां स्रजिनिगलितं या बलात्कृत्य भुङ्क्ते मुदा तस्यै नमः इदमिदं भूय एवास्तु भूयः अन्नमयर्बुदमय आण्डाळ्ळरङ्गर्क्कु பன்னிருப்பாவை பல்பதியம் இன்னிசையால் பாடிக் கொடுத்தாள் நற்பாமாலை பூமாலை சூடிக் கொடுத்தாளை சொல்லு. I would like to welcome you all, as is the tradition with as is the tradition with all our Purvacharyas and the ways shown. It is customary to invite during any pravachana, during any of these sessions, and it is said that both the Shrotra, people who are hearing, as well as Bhakta, that means the person that is actually trying to say whatever they know, both benefit. It is said that both benefit, as you can imagine. A lot of these concepts, in a day-to-day life, when we talk about things, you have to even to say some of these things to find people, you have to at least have practiced it 20 times or 30 times. So that's how people who come here to say anything, they have to go through. So it's a learning for both. As one of the acharyas said it very nicely. There is nothing, and this is Manohar Mamunikar, he says that the concept any concept, within our Vaishnava Sampradaya, anything that we talk about has been already talked about. People in those days had a lot of time thinking through this, right? Right from the age 5, actually age 7, really. They were put into Gurukulam, and from then on, the entire day is spent really talking about, thinking about, and learning the details of our Sampradaya. Because of that, when they grew older, they were able to reflect upon all of their learnings, and they have thought through both, as we call in this day and age, right, positive and negative testing of the concepts. So because of the positive and negative testing that they've done, they've actually done even destructive testing. Thirumarsi Alvar actually says, he was actually Sakyam Katrom, Samanam Katrom, Sankar Narayan Araindo, Vakyetta Sankarkaryana Vandarindo. So the people have actually gone through several cycles in their life, and then have concluded whatever they have concluded, without talking specific concept. And therefore, what's important there is for people like us who get maybe an hour here, an hour there, maybe you're reading something in flight and hearing some pravachanam over the phone and so on. The best we can do is to literally listen and repeat it. That's all we can do. And in fact, this is not, I'm not saying this. Mahamanigal said this. In fact, he says, Munnor Murainda Muraitapamal Kate Pinor Tamana Pesade, Tamnangel Tonde Suli, Adusutto Padesavara, Atta and Murkarava. So what he says is, if you really end up talking, you start interpreting things on your own way, and then you try to explain it to people, what ends up happening is you're going to misinterpret things because you have half the knowledge. And in fact, if you look at Mahamanigal, in order for him to write some compositions, he would have to go through thousands and thousands of scriptures, and he would keep all of them in his mind and then comment on things. If he had that much to do, what are we? We have not even read one and mastered one, and he had mastered everything, right? So anyway, I think that's enough to say that at the end of this point in time, if I'm saying something, not because I know anything at all, but because I've heard and I'm just repeating it. None of these are my concepts, and none of these are my ideas, and so I'm one of you, and nothing more than that. And the thing that I thought would be interesting to talk about is, this is Margari Masam. In Sanskrit, it's Margashirsha Masam. We thought we'll look into Tirupavai and look into the concepts of Andal and so on, right? So again, by the same tradition, what has been taught to us, I'll try to repeat that. The Purvacharyas from our Sampradaya have done three things. Any time they look at and examine and discuss in a goshti or during pravachanam, they look at the subject matter into three parts. One is, let's say Tirupavai, for example, right? So they would look at who's the author. Then they will look at what is the subject matter they're talking about. And then they will look at who are they talking about? What is the main concept that's being talked about? Because the thing is, for us to believe in anything, first of all, the source has to be good, right? That's why any research program that project that all the kids take on, any of us do, we first look at the authenticity. Who has said this? And is this guy really credible? What's his qualification and so on? So that's why it is very important to look at the person that has done it, right? So in this particular case, because the subject matter that we've taken is about Andal, it's Taya. Andal is the subject matter, is the karta, as we call it. So these concepts are actually called Vailakshanya. Vailakshanya means you basically study these three things. The first thing is Kartra Vailakshanya, means who is the author, and what is their credential, why are they important, what have they said, and so on. The second thing you look at is that author may have done a lot of different things, right? At different stage in his life or in her life, that person could have done different things. And during the early age, you may not have gotten all the concepts right and so on. You could have done something. So, second thing they look at is what is the subject matter of discussion, and then and that's called actually the after the Kartru Vairashanyam, it's called Vishaya Vairashanyam. So in this particular case, the Tirupavai will be a Vishaya, right? And then in Tirupavai or in the subject matter, somebody's glory must have been talked about. And what is, or some concept, important concept would be talked about. What is that? So, so those three things are therefore Kartru Vairashanyam, Vishaya Vairashanyam, Prabandha Vairashanyam. Prabandha Vairashanyam, that particular works, because about the Karta, let's say Swami Desikan has written many slokams or many different stutis on Lord Krishna. So, the second one would be Vishaya Vairashanyam, right? So about Krishna is written, but this specific one is, what is so special about this? So that's how we all look at it. So that gives you a reason to look at things and when to do it and so on and so forth, right? So that's how our Purvacharyas always looked at things. So, I wanted to do a little more elaborate discussion of this, but based on the time that we have and so on, I thought we'll just do a summary of some of these concepts. That way we actually get things done, right? So, one of the things I wanted to quickly do is, a lot of us know about Andal, and some of us may not know some of the concepts behind or the reasons behind her avatar. So we'll start from that. That's how our acharyas have also started in the past. So we'll just proceed with it. The first thing is the Ekadasi that just went, not this one. This is the second of December. First or second of December. Second of December. So that Ekadasi is a special one. It's a special one because so somebody is raising their hand. What is it? It's called Kaisika Ekadasi. And Pragya students are actually learning about some of these concepts. That's why they are raising their hands. Kaisika Ekadasi is a very important one because this happened, several years ago during. This is actually even before Varaha Avatar. So you can think how many years back this actually happened. During that Ekadasi, there used to be a person who was from the fourth Varna. I'll just leave it at that. He used to be from the Panar Kulam, which means he used to make all the pots and stuff like that. Pot. And in those days, it was hard for those people to get into the temple. But he was an ardent devotee of the Lord. And he used to abide by the rules of what Vedas and everything had dictated. And so he used to fast on Ekadasi days. Fast, right now the fasting concept is very minimized, not eating food. But it used to be not eating food, not sleeping, and only doing Nama Sankirtanam of Bhagavan. No water, no food, nothing else. Just the Nama Sankirtanam. There used to be Jagrata Vratam. So they used to be up awake all throughout the time. So anyhow, he used to follow that every Ekadasi, and then Dwadasi day he'll break the fast. And then before Ushakala, he used to eat food. And that's the way things happen. But prior to that, what he used to do, he used to be in a place called Tirukurumudi. I'm not sure if people have heard. Tirukurumudi Nambi is where who took the avatar of Brahmana. So that place, Tirukurumudi, he used to be closer to that place. And because he could not live in the Agraharam, he used to live outside of it. So there's a forest, and he used to come across the forest, come near the temple, take bath in the river there, and then do stotram, and he used to sing. He used to actually sing. and he would actually compose songs on his own, and then he would come and present it to Bhagwan. This used to be his work every day, every Ekadasi time. So 30 days, he would 15 days, he would just practice this, and then he would come, do, go. This used to be his routine. So one time what happened was a Brahma Rakshas comes and catches hold of him, and he's crossing through the jungle, and it catches hold of him and doesn't let him go. And he does a lot of promise saying that, let me go, I will come back, and you can eat me afterwards. I'll skip through that portion. That's a very interesting concept, but it ends up that Brahma Rakshas basically lets him go only because he promises that if I don't come back, let the sin that would befall a person who says that Lord Sriman Narayana is not the ultimate God befall on me, right? So as soon as the Brahma Rakshas hears that, he gets, if a person can go to that extent, and assuming the problem of that big a problem, I should let him go. This guy must be a truthful guy. So he lets him go. He goes, does the thing to Bhagwan, and that particular day, he sings a song in a ragam called Kaisikam. Kaisikam is one of the ragams. He sings, I think the kids last time they sang this. He sings the song, and based on his song, Lord is very pleased. He showers him a lot of mercy that day, and after seeing the glory and everything, it's time for him to go. So he goes back. As he goes back, Lord tries to prevent him. Don't go. He tries to divert him. Don't go through the jungle. I'll show you another way to get to your place. Brahma Rakshas will eat you. Don't go. He doesn't listen. He said, I'm a truthful person. That's one thing that I've learned. Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara. I'm going to do it. So he goes, ignoring the Lord who comes in a Brahmin Vesha. He goes. He goes and then goes and stands in front of the Brahma Rakshas. Brahma Rakshas basically says, you are such a pious person. I can see in your face the glory. Till now, I've been trying to hunt around and trying to find how I can get myself out of moksha. I don't want to eat you anymore. That's useless. Because if I eat you, then I'll keep eating 4 more people and 10 more people. But if I can hold on to you, somehow I can get moksha. I can get out of this Brahma Rakshas pataka. So what he does, he actually falls on his feet, and a lot of sambhashana occurs between them. Skip through that. And based on Brahma Rakshas, based on his anugraham, his name is actually Nampaduvan. Nampaduvan is anugraham. Brahma Rakshas becomes a Brahmin again, and he gets moksha. Bhagavan gives moksha to both of them at the same time. So the story ends there. This particular episode, what ends up happening is Bhagavan keeps this in his heart so much that he has to repeat it to somebody. So what happens was, after the Varaha Avatar takes place, you know what Varaha Avatar, right? So Hiranyakshan, he hides. So you think about how big Hiranyakshan would have been. Hiranyakshan could actually play football with all these planets and so on. That's how big he was, his akar. And based on his tapas and everything, he had so much power. He took the earth and hid it under the celestial water, as you all know. And from the deep ocean of celestial water, it is impossible for anybody to pick it up. So they all go to Brahma, right? All the devatas go to Brahma. Why does he do it? Why does he hide it? That's probably nobody thinks about it, right? Vishnu Puranam says the reason he hides it is because it does 2 things. He's got nothing really against earth. But in earth, all the pujas and all the yagams and homes that occurs, right? That is food for the devatas. If we don't do this, devatas don't get any food. So he basically says, why should I attack each of these devatas one at a time? I just cut the supply of food, and that's it. I don't have to fight with those guys. I'll just go hide the earth. Nobody on the earth will do the homam, and that's it. So that's why he actually hides it. Once he hides the thing, now Brahma cannot continue with his procreation because he has to create. How is he going to create? So he has already created Swayambhuva Manu, and Swayambhuva Manu is saying, okay, now where are my my santatis? Where are they going to go live? So he's stuck. So Brahma, the only recourse for him is to, he basically does Anjali and says, Bhagavan, please come and help me out. So Lord comes through his nostril. Now these are all important things. Why he comes through the nostril? So if you read Vishnu Purana a little more deeper, it'll actually come. A lot of kids will ask this question. That's why I'm making some of these points a little obvious to you guys, right? The reason he comes through nostril is the earth is hidden in a place where somebody has to smell it out. That's why the nostril. Secondly, Bhagavan takes the Kurma avatar, Varaha avatar. Why does he take Varaha avatar? Varaha is, if you can see all the wild boar and all that, they are the ones who love the earth, right? You see, they always dig around the earth and do all kinds of things. So a person who loves the earth, number one, a person who can smell it out where it is, in any, the ocean is, the place is so big. These are the reasons why he comes through the nostrils and takes the akaram of the Varaha. Having taken the Varaha avtaram, Bhagavan is actually, he grows and grows and grows and grows. He comes, it's such a small speck. Brahma doesn't even realize. He comes out like this, and then he grows so big. The Veda, Vishnu Puranam says, Bhagavan, when he was initially, you may have all heard about the Meru Parvatam, right? Meru Parvatam is just, as you guys are learning the Koti Surya Samaprabha, right? Sudarshana Chakram is, so similarly, the Meru Parvatam is Koti times Himachal. It is that big. But when Bhagavan grew, it was a small paral in his anklet. So Meru Kanakanayate, he says basically the entire anklet, it was one small stone in his anklet. That's how big Bhagavan was. And that also he stopped because he didn't know, he didn't have to go anymore because he's much bigger than this guy now. And so he uses his gada to actually mace to finish off this guy. Having done that, Hiranyaksha is gone. He goes and does the Bhumi Uddharanam. Having done the Bhumi Uddharanam, Taya is very shivering because he hides there someplace, right? Because of that shivering, he first gives her a big hug and stabilizes her. Now that he has stabilized her, she is happy, right? And then she slowly talking now. She says, okay, now you have stabilized me, but all the people that are going to be in me or people that are still kind of surviving in me, they all need some way of getting out of this fear. Because I'm okay. They are not. So what do you suggest? So at that time, Bhagavan says, I have given all Vedas. I have given all Vedangas here. I have given you everything. What else do you want me to do? Just read and abide by that. You're good. Everybody will be happy. So in the Taittiriya Upanishad it actually says, Atatasya bhayam bhavati. It actually, I won't go to the details of it. There are two concepts it's actually talked about. We all have heard words, right? Bhayam and abhayam. We hear all these words. Each of them mean different things, right? Bhayam means I'm fearful. Abhayam means protection, right? Really, if you think about how these words have come about, in Sanskrit, anything you put in front of thing, that actually is a negation, right? Not fearful is what it really is. What happens is when the Taittiriya Upanishad says, as you move away farther and farther and farther away from the Lord, the fear in you actually grows and grows and grows and grows. As you come closer and closer and closer, because He gives you abhayam. Abhayam means He gives you protection. That's the other meaning for abhayam. Protection. The bhayam becomes abhayam. Bhayam goes away. And because the Lord is giving you abhayam. This is why Lord does this sarva dharman parityaja mamekam saranam vraja. That's the concept. Don't go run away somewhere. And then with the other hand He shows this way. Look at my feet. If you go upstairs, you will see that. Bhagavan does this. Why does He do this? Look at my feet. You hold on to my feet, I'll give you a bhayam. And you do that, all fear, everything's gone. So that's the whole concept, right? So the reason I'm saying this is, Bhagavan says, you do all that and you go by the Vedas and everything will be fine. He goes, no, that's not going to work. It's very hard. Who can do karma yoga? Who can do jnana yoga? Who can do bhakti yoga? It's very hard to do. She says, give me another way, please. So he says, okay, there is one more way. I'll tell you this, and that is very simple. You do Nama Sankirtanam, and you basically surrender to me. You do those two things, and I'll give you moksha. And this is pretty easy. So she says, okay, so if this is there, has anybody done this? I mean, she also now questioning him, right? She wants proof. She's basically asking for us, for our purposes. She knows. She asks for our purposes. So has anybody done this? He goes, yeah. That's when he recites all these Nampanuvan's story. He did this, I gave him moksha. So you guys can all do it. Using this, she says, oh, this is so interesting. So I will go to the earth. I'll do avatar. Once I take the avataram, Vainal Padi Manathinal Sindhika Poya Padim Puhirvan. She says, okay, this is what I need to do. I will come. So in the Taniyan, if you look at Neeladongas Thanakari Sukta Bhakti Krishnam, you just go there, it basically says Srajinigalitam ya Bhalatkartya Bhukte. Srajinigalitam means the flower garland. Using the tight flower garland. Srajinigalitam means tight, really tight flower garland. Ya Bhalatkartya Bhukte. She just goes and just with that flower garland she's got, and that's Pumale. Pamale is the song that she has. With those two, she tied him so tightly. And how did she do it? Balatkritya bhukte, with force. She gave no chance to escape. So that's the beauty of Pamala and Pumala. So the part that I really want to make sure you get is, this is why the Tirupavai is recited, not just recited, it actually is sung. Padi Kuduttal Narpa Mali Shudi Kuduttal. So she is actually somebody who is very adept in singing also. If you look at the Tirupavai, in 13 places she actually says Padi, Padavum, Pada, all these things, because Bhavan never did not say Nama Kirtanam. He did not say just do Nama Japam. He could have said any of those words. He did not say. He said Nama Sankirtanam. So she knew, I have to really be that way. And so the first thing she does, so that's the reason for her to be born on the face of the earth. She shouldn't say avatar on the face of the earth. Ionijam. Ionijam means a person who comes in without appa, without parents. They just come, right? And you've seen Sita comes the same way. You've seen many other avatars like that. So Bhavan comes every time like that only. Even though he was in Devaki's Garbham, when he comes as Ionijam. Anyway, that's a different thing we can talk about later. So anyway, the point is, that's the reason. And so when she comes to, I want to really read some of the things that are important here. Just give me 1 second. So in the when she takes the avatar, there are a couple of things in even the avatar. Avataranam means to come down. It is not customary for people to come down to the earth. If you look at devatas and other celestial bodies, people, they don't really. This is like a kitchen for them. This is the worst place that they can think of. When they take the homa samagri and everything that we give to them, the way they do that is they apparently close they turn their face, they just do this, take the food, run away. That's how all devatas do. So imagine somebody who knows all these things. Imagine somebody who was very adept in all these, coming down to earth to be with us, to elevate us. This is why avatarams are so important, because they don't have to do it. They do it so that we all can benefit out of it and then learn something from it. So it's because of the love they have for us is why they do it. That's the so avataram means actually that. Avataranam means to get down, and then and that's why even in the introduction, in those days they used to call it avatarikai. Avatarikai really is, for any subject matter, before you learn it, you actually go dive deep into it and then learn from it. Otherwise, if you don't get into the water, how can you swim? It's like that, right? So unless you get into earth, you cannot elevate people like us, because we're already fallen so much. You have to be one amongst us. That's the concept, right? So Swami Desikan actually describes Andal's avatar as, actually this particular one is, there are 2 or 3 places where Andal's avatar is talked about. I'll just say the first one. Ashade Purva Phalgunya Tulasi Kananodbhava. Ashade Purva Phalgunya Tulasi Kananodbhava Padye Vishwambaram Godam Vande Shri Ranganaikam. There is a charitram called Dipisuri Charitram. It's that's what it is talked about. So Andal's avataram is talked about not only by our Purvacharyas, it is talked about in many other places. The Varaha Avataram Purana that I was talking about is from Varaha Purana, 48th chapter. If somebody is interested, you can go look at it. There also it talks about Tayar making the sankalpam to come back. Now she actually comes back, and then it calls her in this. If you notice this thing, it calls her Vande Shri Ranganaikam, because Ranganathan, Goda Devi actually ends up marrying Ranganatha, so she is also a Ranganaki. That's the concept we have to remember. And then the day she was found is the day that is celebrated as her birthday, right? So there it is talked about Ashade Purva Phalgunya, Ashada Masam, Adi Masam in Tamil, Ashada Masam is in the Sanskrit. One is the Chandramana, if you follow that. There are multiple calendars, right? Some people follow Surya calendar, lunar calendar. By lunar calendar, this is what it is. Ashade Purva Phalgunya. Purva Phalguni, there are 27 nakshatrams. One of the nakshatram is Purva Phalguni, and we call it Puram in Tamil. So you guys all know that. Tulasi Kananodbhavan. She was actually born by the Tulasi Chedi, basil plant. Alvar finds her. Periyalvar finds her there. And the interesting thing is, Periyalvar was a very ardent devotee of Lord Vadapatra Sai in Srivilliputturu. And there, even before Andal Goda Devi was born, he was actually doing Kainkaryam there. And his Kainkaryam, he was a very well read person. He says, they were not small people. He says, I don't know anything. To Pandyan king, when he asks for who's the Parampura, he says, I don't know anything. But the concept is, he knows, he's read through everything. The most important thing is, there are 2 things they talk about Periyalvar. One is, and there is learning from him, right? If you know something, divide that, spread it across. Let everybody learn. Don't keep it to yourself. That's one thing. The second thing, is the Katra Payan. If you've learned something, what is the benefit of that? You should have Vidya Dadati Vinayam. If you don't have that, if it gets into your head that I'm a learned person, I'm this and that, and so on and so forth, it gives it's of no use. Vidya Dadati Vinayam. The more you learn, the more you should stoop down. Because that's when you're learning that I don't know anything. The more you learn, the more Katradu Kaimandala, which means, there is so much to learn. All I have learned is just my handful of sand that I can pick up in my hand. That's all I have learned. So the whole point is, even though Periyalvar knew everything, he used to say, to the Lord, he's saying, I don't know anything. All I know is only your name. I know your Paramurad. That's all I know. Bhagavan says, you've learned everything, just go tell this thing to Pandyan, and then you'll win the award and so on. That happens, that's a separate story. So he constantly used to play in work on the ground, and his thing was to get the flowers, make a garland out of it. Every day he used to give it to the Lord. That's the job that he took. See, Kainkarim, when you take, every Kainkarim to the Lord is important Kainkarim. There is, this is better and that is better. Here, if I say this, I'll get more dakshina if I do this. All these concepts that people have, if you just look into this more for Namarvars and Periyarvars and all these Arvars, you just learn. Anyway, we'll just skip through that. He, based on that, Lord is actually thinking, before she takes the avatar, who's the right person for Andal, right? Because Andal is one of his consorts, and he doesn't want to just dump somebody, right? So when he thinks about it, he looks at all the people, and he says, then he remembers Vishnu Chittan. And the concept of if the more you think about him, he thinks about you too. And because Vishnu Chittan constantly used to think about him, that's why he is Vishnu Chittan in the first place. Bhagavan, he had him very close to heart. So he determined this is the right person. And therefore, Andal was actually made to be in that place. So Ayodhya, she comes, but when he picks her up, that's the beauty. When he picks her up, she has so much fragrance. Tulasi Kananod Bhavam, and it's the smell of Tulasi, smell of all the beautiful flowers. So that with that, when he picks her up, he couldn't think of anything else. And plus, Periyarvar is all about flowers and all this thing, right? That's what he used to do. He names her Kodai. Kodai in Tamil actually means fragrant flower, and that's why he names her Kodai. And in Sanskrit it becomes Goda. That's a different, completely different concept there. If you think about it, Bhagavan is Govinda, she's Goda. These are all things to think about. I'll come to that later on at some point in time. So when he picks her up, she's so fragrant. He's constantly thinking of the Lord. He wants to give her not only that fragrance that she was born with, but the fragrance of the Lord. That's why right from the day she was born, he constantly gives her and talks to her about the Lord. Constantly. The more she learns about him, the more she is interested in him. So Veyar Pukhar Villiputtur Adipuram Menmelam Mihavilanga Vitta Sittan Tuya Tirvalai Vandu Arangarka Tujai Malai Sudi Koduttamade Neyamudal Tirupavai Pattaraindum Ni Uraita Tayurdingal Pavagai Ayar Pukhar Nurudan Nakpattundu Anbudane Adiye Nirkarul Seniye. The reason this is also by Swami Desikan. The reason he says this, she constantly imbibes all these things. She's a young girl. All she knows is Padapatra Sai. All she knows is that that garden. All she knows is her dad. All she knows is Bhagavan. This is all she knows. Constantly, he's only giving her this. And as she goes, the more she is not interested in anything else. She's constantly only learning about this, and so her fragrance, not only her original fragrance is really blossoming, but her interest in the Lord also is constantly growing. Right? So to skip through some of the things I wanted to talk about before. One of the things that she does. Well, actually, let me go to another thing that is connected to the story. Andal is, the place is called Srivilliputturu. The place is actually called Srivilliputturu. There's a Sthala Puranam also for that. Varaha Perumal chooses that place for Andal not only because of Vishnu Chittan, Periyarvar, but also because that sthalam is important for him and for Bhuma Devi. The way it occurs is after he takes the Varaha Avtaram, he's actually circling in that area. Bhuma Devi says, I want your padam to be to fall all over the place. That's when my people will stop worrying about and start thinking about you. So he spends a lot of time on the face of the earth. So one time what happens was also all the Bhrigu Maharishi, he's doing some yaham, but there's a Kalanini, there's one Asura. He doesn't let him finish it. So he prays to the Lord, who was in Varaha Murti at that time, please come and help me. So Varaha Murti at that time uses his Chakrayudam, finishes that guy, and then because of the Ashuddhi on that Chakram, he Asparascha Vitrayam, he thinks about Ganga Yamuna Saraswati. At the same time, they all come to his feet, and he uses that water to cleanse the Chakrayudam. That Chakrayudam, that water that he brings through his command, even till today, that Punya Kshetra and Punya Nadi is there, not Nadi, Kolam is there. It's actually called Tirumukkulam. Munu means three, Tirumukkulam means that's a kolam, it's a pond. So that is where, anyway, that's what he does. After that, what ends up happening is, Bhrigu Maharishi goes away because his work is done. See, think about some of these rishis, and they are so much interested in the Lord. That's who they want to attain through their yaham, yagyam, and all that stuff. But even they, Lord is right there. They ask him for help. I need to finish my. So they are all in karma. Karma yogam is all they are doing. Sharanagati is not there 100%, because if it was there, why would he do anything else? Lord is right there, fall on his feet, get done with it. No, my yagam is not done, please help me. So anyway, we'll go through that. So after his yagam sampurnam, he gives the homage and everything to the Lord, and then my work is done, he goes away. All these guys go away, and then Bhagavan is all by himself. So Vatabhadra Shahi is there, he just, after time passes, and he's covered by the sand and mud and whatever it is, right? He's buried inside there. Bhuma Devi loves him. That's all he cares about. So he just in his Bodhi mein he just has fun. That's it. So after that, time passes. There are two brothers. They're actually hunters. They come. One is Billy, one is Kandan. So the Kandan guy dies because a tiger hits him. Eats him, and then he's dead. Basically, somehow it kills him. So the brother is very, Billy. He's, they are inseparable brothers. So he feels so bad. He says, you know what? My brother is now there. I'm going to kill myself. So he takes a dagger and goes to kill himself. At that time, what happens is, Vatabhadra Sai, who is right there, he says in Asariri, he says, you help me bring me out and show it to the world. In return, I'll give you your brother. This is a good idea. So he goes and digs. The Lord comes out. As soon as the Lord comes out, like Bhagavan promised, he gives them so they are very happy. So he actually, because of that, he actually makes the entire place a real livable place, right? So because of Villi, that entire place becomes a livable place. In Tamil, Puttur means, he gave a reborn place. Okay, he gives the place a rebirth, right? So Villi gives it, therefore it's called Villi Puttur. You always put Tayar Sri Villi Puttur. So that's why the place is called Sri Villi Puttur. So that is the best place. It is a place for Bhagavan, Varaha Peruman. So Varaha Peruman, now Bhuma Devi, who is his consort, has taken the avtaram. This is the place that he wants her to be. So these are all the reasons why she came, right? So this Tirumukkulam is a place that she used to go every day to do her karma, snanam and all this stuff, right? So this used to pass by. So she used to constantly do one thing, which is help her dad with all the flower garlands and so on. And he used to go and do the arpanam to Bhagavan. Even till date, if you go to see, if you have an opportunity to go to see, you can actually see. That's one place where the temple is not the real temple. It is actually Periyar's house that has been converted into as a Sridharma Bhavan. He gave it to her, gave it to Aandal and Ranmana as their wedding gift. He gave his own house. So his house is where they still till date live. So Periyar, because he's given that house, he lives outside. His sanadhi is outside that place. They every day the Archaka from Periyar Sanadhi will bring him on his kaile ela and then he'll stand in front of the Lord, and then they'll say Pallandu Pallandu. So Tayari Brahmani Party they'll chant Pallandu in front of him. Anyway, it's a beautiful sight. But then the reason I'm saying this is even before when Periyar and Goda Devi were all there, they used to do Pallandu every day. And after that, they'll go Samarpanam, the Mala Samarpanam. Periyar will go to the Mala Samarpanam. Taya will help him in all the process. So one day she got this. I mean, you guys all I'm sure you heard the story. One day she got the idea that if this Lord is somebody that is a good match for me, whatever he wears, let me also wear that and see if that goes well with me or not. So now she wants to check that out. And so what she does, as soon as the mala is built out, she puts it on, goes to that pond, looks at her face, and they didn't have any mirror. Actually, I don't say they don't want to have a mirror. There's a debate. I'll just leave it at that. Because Andal herself says, "Ukkamum tattoliyum tandun manana ippode me niratte." Tattoli actually means mirror. So just leave that thing, because I have not heard my Acharya tell me one way or the other. So until I get clarification, I won't ask that question. It's a question in my mind. In my mind, I don't know the answer for it. But in every Charitram you see, it is said that she looks into either a well or a pond. Although there is some evidence through her own Tirupavai that Tattoli was there. Tattoli means mirror in Tamil. So anyway, she looks at it. Sure, it's a good match. She thinks that okay, it looks like a good match, and then she leaves it up. So this thing happens. Periyar does not notice. One day he does notice, and then he's very upset. Because he's upset, what does he do? He does not touch that flower garland. He makes another one with tulsi and whatever else, and he takes it to the Lord. Lord says, "This is not what I want." In fact, that day, not only to Periyar, he actually comes in the Sopram of everybody in the town and says, "I want that mala. What is this man doing?" So all of them come to Periyar's house and say, "What did you do? This is what you want." So they all, really get the gist of how big Goda is, right? Goda Devi is. And Swami Desikan in this thing, he's got a very, very nice way of putting this thing. He basically says, Yam Sarvagandhamidi Sarvaham Udvanti, means Vedas. If you look at the Pramanam, our Pramanam is Vedas, right? If you look at our Pramanam, it says Yam Sarvagandham. He has every Gandham in him. Iti Sarvaham Udvahanti. Everybody says that, Lord, you have that. But the day Goda Devi gave you this garland that she wore and gave, when they put on you, a brand new fragrance came that nobody has ever seen. How can it be possible? So he actually does that, pun in words, but what the real meaning of this thing is, there are 2 or 3 explanations for this. One is to say how great Goda Devi was because of this our association. This thing happened and all that stuff, right? So that it told the entire world that Goda Devi is somebody special. That's one. But more importantly, there are 3 concepts, right? Sri Devi, Bhu Devi, Neela Devi. They all have a different component to. They're all part of the Lord. This is what number 1 says. They are never separated from the Lord. Because they are never separated from the Lord, they are part of Him. They imbibe something in Him. They give something to Him. You see what I mean? So because of the Taya, I will tell you this. Because of Sri Devi, what does the Lord have? Don't say Panam and all that stuff. That's not what it is. Tejas. Hiranyavarnam, Harinim, Suvarna Rajadasrajam. She is the one that is Hiranyavarnam. She is the one that is glowing. What is Bhagavan's Varna? Neela Megha Shyamala, Karneela Megha, you cannot see him. Without Tayar, you cannot see him. In fact, Neela Toyata Madhyastha Vidyulleke Vabhaswara, Nivarashupatra Pita Bhasya Tarupama. What it says is, Bhagavan is dark. He, Sharat Chandrama, you guys heard? So Sharat Purnima day, if you see, that's the day Bhagavan did a Rasa Leela. I guess my mind is quivering all over the place now. I want to see why Sridevi is important here, right? In the Sharat Purnima day, what happens is moon is there, then there is this constant flare of mayhem, the dark cloud that passes by. That's normally that's how in that season it's actually Marikalam, rainy season, and during that time that's what happens. There will be moon, and then the cloud will be constantly in front of it. If you imagine that scene, where this is from Vedam, right? Neela Toyana Madhyastha Vidyulleke Vabhaswara, that Chandran is behind the Megham. Megham is Bhagavan. If you look at that scene, you can imagine that around that Megham you can see a glow, right? And then the Megham itself becomes kind of translucent. It's not transparent, it becomes translucent. It has kind of a glow. The darker it is, the thicker the cloud is, the translucency, obviously it's hard for us, the thing to penetrate, but the extremities of the cloud will be like a silver lining, right? Vedam says, if you have to imagine Tayar and Bhagavan, this is what you should see in nature and learn. The Bhagavan himself is like that Karneela Vannan. That's what Bhagavan is. He's dark. You cannot see him. Tayar Kirtanarada, you can see him. Because of Tayar, that is why, if you look at all of Bhagavan's extremities, what color are they? They are pink in color. Bhagavan and Kai pink. His eyes, another extremity, pink. His feet, bottom of the feet, that is pink. His nostrils are pink. Why? Because of Tayar's associate. She is inside of him and gives him the glow. So around him, in him, so that's what, who does this? Sridevi does this. Now, Bhuma Devi, what does she do? Bhuma Devi gives him the fragrance that he has. Yam Sarvagandhairi Sarvabhutmati, who gives it to him? That's why when she gives him the garlands, a new fragrance comes, because she can do all that. That's her property. And then Neela Devi gives something too. In another Dayasatakam, Swami Desikan says, Ikshusara Srimante Yenmurtiya Sarkaraidam. Bhagavan, if you go down that path, you will go to another discussion. Bhagavan is like the sugar cane. Sugar cane is very hard, it's sweet, very hard to eat. I don't know how many, I've tried it, I'm not sure how many of you can actually eat it. Ikshusara is actually the juice, sugarcane juice. That's the second stage, right? Ikshusara is, if Bhagavan is the sugar cane, his daya is the sugarcane juice. So people can drink sugarcane juice very easily. Many of you have done it. It's good, right? But sugarcane juice, how many days will it last? Maybe 2 days, 3 days, maybe a week. Gone, right? So that is, his daya is good. It doesn't last longer. When he looks at you, if you are Shishupalan, he'll burn you. If you are, he's an asura, he burns him or kills him. But he looks at Prahalad and it gives him another asura. So it's not very clear how his thing is going to be. It only lasts for a few minutes and to some people and so on. But if you convert that sugar juice or sugarcane juice into sugar, that can last for a long time, forever. Kalkanda Mati, it will be there for a long time, right? That Kalkanda is the Daya Gitti Ayi, that when it hardens, is the Daya Devi that is also today residing as Tirumala, Tirupati, is what Swami Desikan says in this. So what does she give him? She is the Daya in the Lord. So that's what she gives, the compassion. So if you need to go to the Lord, these are the people that you need to go. That's why they say that Daya is you need to get to her to get to him. That's why in the Dhyana Shlokam also, we always do this, right? Acharyanda Modal, through him only you can get to her. Ennulir Dandadittavarai Sharanam Pukku Yan Adaiven Avar Gurukkal Nirai Vanangi Pinnarulal Perum Budur Vandavallal Periyanambi Aravandar Manakkal Nambi Nannare Avar Kuretta Uyakondar Nathamuni Shadagovan Sheranadan Innamudat Tirumahal Indri Ivarhai Munnitem Berman Tiruvadil Nade Indrene. He goes through the entire ladder. Ennuir Dandadittavarai Sharanam Pukku. First the only people that I know are my parents. Whoever they showed as my Acharya, he was the next person. I went and learned everything. And then the lineage goes all the way up to Tirumahal. Tirumahal shows me finally Sri Devi. She shows me the Lord. Until that time, if Tirumahal says tomorrow Brahma is the Lord, Krishna we'll just go there. That's how our entire Prapanna Jati is. Anyway, so that's why the fragrance thing comes. So there Swami Desikan then finally says, this is why Upahritya Gode and Upahritya Mala, and that Mala that she adorned was because he gave it to Godadevi, to the Bhagavan. Periyarvar gets the title of Periyarvar. He was Vishnu Chitta till that time. He gets the title of Periyarvar because of that. There is another thought also, which is also equally correct. Mahavarigal says he gets that title because of Pungum Parivale. When the Lord comes into the sky, everybody is looking at him, and then he's so beautiful because of the association with Neela Devi. So beautiful he comes, he wants to make sure that Kandichil Padamakaruna, he's just the kapu. And that's why he does the Palladu for him. So anyway, that's the other reason why he is called Periyarvar. There could be many reasons why he is called Periyarvar, but these two are the commonly accepted reasons for it. So Godadevi becomes a little, now she knows the match, everything worked out. Bhagavan himself said that my malas are good. Now she's really into how do I get there. And you have to think about this. I don't think I have. What is the time right now?
Don't worry about the time. Please go.
One of the things that we have to really get into the habit of thinking. The scriptures, they talk about all of us as striling. It actually gives us, especially doesn't really Purushanna. There is only one Purusha. Sahasra Sirisha Purushana. Vishyade Lakshmi Shapatnyo. Everybody else is treated as striling. Every Jivatma is a striling. So anyway, we'll come to that in a little bit as to why that is important. Godadevi is trying to find out what is the way to attain the Lord. Now that the match is there, so her father says, well, do the Nama Sankirtanam, do all these things. She goes, no, I want to marry him. And she is 5 at the time. 5 years. So, kids ask all those kind of funny questions, right? Periyarvar was not going to discourage these kinds of questions in any form fashion. He said, if you want to do that, there is a way. She says, how? Who has done it? He goes, in the Nanda Prajam, lots of Gopastris, Gopakanyas, they did this. How did they do this? Katyayini Mahayogi. So Katyayini Vratam, they were there. Katyayini Mahayogi, Nanda Gopasundem, Patimme Gurute Namaha. What ends up happening is they, in the Nanda Prajam, all the Gopastris, they want to marry the Lord. They all want to marry him. So in order to do that, they all go to the Yamuna Nadi. They do a yagam there. And Pavai means actually an impression of a face. So what they will do, they'll take the Tayar's Ambar's impression of the face, make it out of the sand on the river, right? Use that and do the puja for that, and they do some puja, and that's called Katyayani Vratam, and they'll do entire day Vratam and all that stuff. They'll do the puja. This is what they used to do, but in their heart, what they had was they wanted to marry this guy. Krishna, who's floating around them. He will come, he'll say, okay, you've done this, he'll just go and monitor. So everybody would be, is he watching mine, is he watching that, that's what they all used to be. So they tell him, Vishnu Chitan tells Andal that, yeah, there is that way, he can do it. From that day on, she is into this Pavai Nomu. That's the starting of Tirupavai. So she goes, okay, this is what I got to do. So then she says, which month? Hemante Pratame Mase. This is what Bhagavatam says. Hemanta Rutu, which is right now. Pratame Mase, you have Rutus, right? Shishira Rutu, Grishma Rutu. So Hemanta Rutu is right now. Pratame Mase, first month in that Hemanta Rutu is Margari Mase. Masanam Margasirshaham is what Bhagavan says. So it's a very important masam. In Gita, Bhagavan says, he picks all the important ones and says, Masana Margasirshaham. In the month, I am like Margaret. Reason that is important is, see, Marga means path. Sirsha means the best path. So essentially, path to attain him. So that month is when you basically end up thinking about him, doing all these activities. So in that day when the Lord was there, as Lord Krishna, they actually came down, and in this month for 30 days they did Nomu. Nomu means Ambarada in the Pariyata, they used to do this puja. That's all they used to do. So Andal assumed in her own heart, she just started imagining that she is one of the Gopikas. All her friends are all Gopastris, and this Tirumukalam is the Yamuna Nadi, and that's all. She basically, in fact, if you look at Tirupavai, a person who has learned all the scriptures and everything, it doesn't look like that at all. She just talks about it, and then she uses all the irmai and the birds, all the words of not Agraha. You will never hear these words in Agraha. Like I said before, all she knew was Agraha, but she talks all the languages of the Gopastris. That's all they used to do. All the cowherds, and she imbibes the language too. Not only Manobhavam, the language, everything becomes that. But because her avataram was to do certain things, in every one of Tirupavai Pasaram, she's got such a beautiful meaning to those. Every word has that component. So the reason I wanted to say that so she started. This is the genesis of Tirupavai, right? So having learned this, she wanted to do the Tirupavai. Now, from if you have to learn about Tirupavai, you have to probably go back and look at what our Purvacharyas have said about Tirupavai. The Annavayar Puduvai Andal Arangarku Pandu Tirupavai Palpadiyam Inni Isayal Padi Koduttal Narpavalai Poomalai Suri Koduttalai Sollu Suri Kuduthu Sudarmudiye Tolpavai Padi Arula Vallo Palvalaya Nadini Venkadavarku Enna Viniyannai Maatham Nam Kadava Vandanga. And then this actually describes her. Also on the as the Kuratadvan's son, Parashara Bhattar, he used to be in Srirangam. He was born in Srirangam. In fact, Tayar and Perumal literally brought him up. He, because one of his friends was kind of a not a good person. He was in one of the temple authorities. He didn't let him live there. there was a period of time when he spent time outside of Sri Lanka, and he could not take that separation from the Lord. That's when he writes, Nila Dungastanagradani Suktabhoti Vishnam Parahatyam Swam Shruti Satesa. Shruti is Vedam. Shata, 100. Shiras means all the Upanishads are all Vedat or Shiras. Siddhamadhyapayanti. So the Godai's words are equal to Vedam, is what it says. Shruti. Shruti is Vedam, right? Shruti is everything that you hear from here. That's why it's called Shruti. I wanted to touch upon some of us, some terminologies and definitions. I'll skip through that. Actually, let me take 5 minutes. Can I take 5 minutes? Before, see, the thing is, if we get to Tirupavai, if I don't get the concept, that will be lost. So I just wanted to give you a 5-minute, maybe 10 minutes. The concept behind this is, first of all, we have to go back and look at our Sampradaya. There are only two. Bhagavan, this is not me. Bhagavan in Gita defines, I was the one who created 4 varnams. Okay? And don't get me wrong. Brahmano Samukamasit Bahura Janyakrada Uru Tatasya Dvesha Abhyagam Shudro Ajayata. Bhagavan creates these 4 varnams. Each of us came from different parts of his body. One came from his mouth, actually. One Bahu. One from his thighs. One varnam from his feet. Think about, not making any other comments, think about which part we all try to catch hold of. His feet, not his shoulders, not his arms, not his mouth, definitely not his face. We try to catch hold of feet. So in reality, feet is the most important part. So anyway, some sect came out of his feet. Brahmins, as they call it, because their job is to constantly chant the mantras. They came out of Bhagavan's mouth. And because some people were to protect the place, Kshatriyas came from his Bahu. And other people who had to do the Vyaparam, they need to sit and do the Vyaparam, so he came from his, this part, the thighs. And Krishi work, all the Krishi work had to be done by people who walk a lot, so they came from his feet. This is how Bhagavan says, I created. And on top of this, he basically says there are only 2 kinds of people, Arjuna. One who believe in Vedam, one who don't. That's it. Us, I'm talking about everybody. Us. People who believe in Vedam are Vedikas. People who don't are not. As simple as that. So, if you were to say, what is my Madam? The overarching umbrella of Madam is Vedic Madam. That's why we call ourselves as Vedic Madam. Okay, all the other sects, forget, we are all Vedic. Because we believe in Vedam and take that as Pramanam, that is Vedic Madam. The second thing, after the Vedic Madam, if you look at it, there are lots of philosophies. Right? And the philosophies is basically, okay, if I accept Vedam as my Pramanam, so that's the other word I'm going to use, Pramanam. People use these words loosely, so I want to make sure we give some definition to Kens and everybody else, right? Pramanam is proof. Pramanam is the source of the truth, right? So for us, it is Vedam. And if you just look at Vedam, why is it called Shruti? Not because we learn from, that is one way, that is one reason. But all the scientists, all the rishis and munis, they're all scientists. If you tune yourself, if you tune your indriyams in such a way that you can hear the vibrations of the Vedam, then you can actually grab hold of it. Am I making clear? So there is a way that you can tune your own self to actually hear the Vedam in this earth. Like, you can just do Dhyanam and you'll hear the Vedam. And then they spread it. That's why it is called Shruti. They also did not. Yasya Vishwasanam Vedaha is what it says. Bhagavan's Muchakadas, his breath, is what turned out to be Veda. Is what it is. And therefore, if somebody is there snoring, we all can hear, right? Unfortunately, that's all we can hear. If we are able to hear Lord's breath, obviously it needs a tuning of yourself into that. If you can do that, that's what most of the. That's why Yagyavalkar, you go to all these munis who actually got things and put it down and then spread it across. Why? Because they were able to catch that. So Vyasa Maharishi, Bhagavan's Muchakatas or breath is only one, right? It cannot be 4, 5, 6, 7. It cannot be many. But Vyasa Maharishi, because it was hard for us to grab hold of it, actually split them into 4 pieces. That's why it's called Vyasa. Vyasa in Sanskrit actually means to divide. That's literally what it means. He used to be called Krishna Dvaipayana. His name was something very different. He's Parasara Muni's son. I guess I'm digressing. The point is, the Vedams, the Vedas are basically heard, and therefore they came. That is our praman. That is our proof. If you accept it, or if you accept it, you're a Vaidika. You're not. Then that out of that Veda, all these people who were able to grab things, they wrote a lot of things out of it, right? They gleaned a lot of knowledge out of it and then gave it to us. Dharma Shastra came out of that, right? So, we say, if that is the proof, then, what are these philosophies that came out? Well, then there are a lot of interpretations. Interpretations of this part of Vedam, this part of Vedam, this part. You keep on going, doing it. So, there is something called Tattva. And 15-second description of Tattva is something that is truthful. Unmayana Purul, that is what Tattva. Something that is not true is not Tattva. Okay? So, the people who debate all these philosophies have only, they only debate about this thing called Tattva. Right? Some people say there are 3, some people say there are 2, some people say there are 1. And what are those 3 things? Chit, Achit, and Parabrahma. Right? Anything that is, all the objects around us, inanimate objects around us, they're all Achit, including our body actually, because it doesn't live. And then there is something inside your consciousness that's Achit, Chit. And then Bhagavan who gives it, Abhayam, Sharanam. He's the third one. Without him, even that Chitta will not go. So that's the third. The Adi Shankara Bhagavad, when he looked at thing, he basically said there is only one reality, and that is the Lord Himself. Everything else, in a way, that's you can interpret it. Because if all these things are His, our Jivatma is actually His property. Like I said, if the inseparable 3 Devis are part of Him, we are actually part of Him like that. In fact, if you go to Vishnu Purana and you dive deep into that, it actually describes how the entire universe came. We actually chant in Purusha Sukta, Tripadur Dyodai Purusha. Bhagavan actually splits a small part, 3/4 of it. Tripada Urdhva. He left 3/4 for the celestial world. He took a small part and created the Leela Vibhuti. So if the entire universe that we see, that he keeps playing around with, is only 1/4 of his main, whatever thing he's got, of his akara, right? Which is infinite by definition. So even there, I'm digressing a little bit. The point I'm trying to make is, Bhagavan, in this, we're all part of Him, because He created this Leela Vibhuti so we can all be part of it and so on. So there is nothing besides Him. So Adi Shankara Bhagavad says there is only one. He does not see even Jivatma as yet another reality, and so that's one. Then there are other people who say no, that's not true. I see all these things; these are all real. I see kids floating around. I see all these things; they're all real. I can touch, feel. It has to be real. There is I can see that while these things are there, I can also see there is Atma inside of me. Because otherwise, the moment that Atma goes up and the person dies and that person cannot, he doesn't have consciousness. So I can see that there are two things, consciousness and the body. This is called Sankhya-vadam, by Kapilacharya. So anyway, those are two concepts. There are other concepts too. Swami Ramanujacharya basically said, that is also true, this is also true, combine the two, that's one. Meaning, he basically said, there is Achit. All these things are true. How can you say it's not true? It's there. I can see it, I can touch, feel, I can smell. It's all there. I have to accept it as that's what we all can accept. The second thing he says is I also can see that there is a Jivatma inside of me, because without that I cannot act, I cannot do anything, I cannot even move my hand without my consciousness being inside of me. So he accepts it. But then he says, just think about it this way. Very simple example. You go to the dining table and sit to you're going to sit there to eat something. As soon as your wife is giving you some food, and you go to eat. Before you put that in your mouth, phone rings. You pick up the phone, right? You pick up the phone, you talk for 15 minutes, and then you hang up, and then you go continue, and then somebody knocks on the door. The food was there, you were there, everything was there. If there are only two truths to this entire reality, which is Chit and the Achit, I had the Achit, which could, and I have the Chit, which is my Jivatma. It could have enjoyed the whole thing, but it was not able to. Something stopped me from doing at the time when I wanted to do it. I was hungry, I was going to eat, but something stopped me from doing this. Right? So there is a third reality, which basically is Sutanhar. It actually is moving things across and making things happen. So Ramanujacharya says, there is the third reality too. But you have to think about it this way. The combination of all these three, there is no second. There is no second to these three things that we have. So you cannot produce another three things in parallel to this. Chit, Achit and Paramatma, you cannot find another parallel thing to this. Therefore, combination of all these three, there is only one. So the words people use, Advaitam, Dvaitam, Visishta Advaitam. So Advaitam is, there is no second, there is only one reality. Dvaitam is there are two realities. Visishta Advaitam is actually an Advaitam, there is no second to what? To the combination of these three. This is Ramanujacharya's philosophy. So then he goes back and says, alright, these are all concepts, these are all good, keep knowing this, but ultimately, how do I attain the Parabrahma? That's what the next step that really Acharya says is, in order for you, for this Jivatma, to really get to him, first of all, it needs to realize the difference between the Achit and the Chit itself, these two. Jivatma and the Achit, it needs to be some distinction. You have to come to the conclusion on your own that those are two separate things. Once you have done that, you do, and then you've also accepted the fact that there is Paramatma, you do one of three things. If you consider that the eating food or drinking some nice milk, coffee, whatever, those are the important things to do, you concentrate on that. And you can keep doing that, right? And you eventually find out that eating more food is going to upset your stomach, watching more TV is going to upset your eyes, and so on and so forth. You will come to the conclusion one of these days. So then you'll see what's next to me. Then you'll say, oh, maybe there is something called Atma. Maybe I should really do some yoga, and maybe I should figure this thing out, right, about this Atma stuff. Well, if you start doing that, it'll take some time. It apparently is also very enjoyable, because Atma, by definition, it is Tejomayam. Atma has Anandamayam. Atma is Kotastan, Jnanastvam. He's got, because of the Jnatritvam, if Atma is connected, if you're able to connect to them, you can immediately you can connect everybody. So you'll see how we are all connected and all that stuff. You can do that. But then what is happening is you are basically enjoying yourself. So think about it this way. Bad example, but I'm going to give it to you. If there is a person that is actually rendering a lecture or doing something, and only one person, how enjoyable is that going to be? If there are more people to enjoy, it's more reaction, more people listen. That's always more enjoyable, right? So, how do you do as a group? You can't enjoy your own self when you're Sangeet cannot just sing all by himself. That's not good, right? So this is something that you have to enjoy together. And what do you enjoy together? It's the Parabrahma. So you will come to that conclusion. So why do our Purvacharyas have done all these slokams, stotrams, this, that, do this, do that, do this way, do that way, all this stuff? Because they have already done the groundwork and they've determined that the first two are useless. The third one is the most important one. The problem is, for us to realize that it could be, 70 years. By the time you're 70 years old, if you find it out, you can't get there. So our Acharya said, don't worry about it, just blindly believe me, just go down this path. Well, when you go down this path, what is the path? Well, Lord Krishna gives you 3 paths. Actually 4. The first one is his Karma Yoga. And Arjuna is as confused as all of us. Then he says Jnana Yoga. And he's even more confused. Then he says Bhakti Yoga. He says, please leave me alone. This is really confusing. Because, if you think about each of these, if you have to do Karma Yoga, you have to learn all the Vedams and you have to act exactly per that. We don't have Bharadwaja Maharishi said, I'm going to take it as a challenge and read it. I'm going to do it. He chanted. One lifetime was not enough for him. And then he says, I need more. I need 100 more years. I need 100 more years. He just kept on going. He realized that's not going to happen. So you can't even chant once all the way down. Where is the question of learning and then doing as per the Vedas, right? So Karma Yoga, you can just pretty much give it up. Then Jnana Yoga, well, you can sit and do Jnana, and it's very hard to do. Because the reason it is hard to do, if you have to imagine the Lord through your Jnana, the problem with that is, you can either do through Anumana. Most of the things, how do you gather, right? In this world, how do you gather? Either through Anumana, meaning, or extrapolate things, right? That's how you know. I've seen this, because I've seen this, I can extrapolate something, right? In the technical term, they say, let me basically say this way. If there is smoke, right, there's a forest fire going on somewhere, on the top of a hill, you see a fire, or smoke. You see, okay, there must be a fire somewhere, forest fire, that's why there's smoke. Why do you know this? Because you've already seen somewhere, in a smaller scale, you've seen a fire, a smoke, everything together. That's why that's Anumana. So for anything in this world that we know of, we gather, it's always through that kind of experience. Now, if you have not had an experience, if a person has never had a sweet, let's say that the person never had a sweet, you tell him sweet is this way, sweet is that way, and it will taste good. How will that person ever know? A blind person who's never seen anything, if you describe to him things that you and I see, what is color? How do you describe color to him? It's like that. Nobody has really experienced Bhagavan. Through Jnatritvam, if you have to see it, how do you do it? Because there is no parallel that I can give. If I have a small thing, then I can say, oh, okay, you can multiply this thing bazillion times and there it is. That's the Lord. I cannot do that. The only proof that kind of some people give, I mean that's again, it's a philosophy and you can keep debating it, don't want to go there, is the Prapancham has been created, I can see the Prapancham. If I can see the part, I can see the part. Therefore, I can see the Prapancham, therefore I can see the Prapanchakarta. You can keep debating it. I mean, it's okay. So, Jnana Margam, you know how hard it is going to be. Keep it aside. Bhakti Margam, the problem with that is, you have to constantly do Nama Sankirtan. Just constantly think about Lord. At the last moment also you have to constantly think about it, because at the last second of when your prana goes out, if you're not thinking of it, you're thinking of something else, that's how you'll be born. There are lots of examples of that also. And there are good and bad examples of it. But anyway, we'll skip through that. So, so three margams Bhagavan shows is no good. So Kadasila Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Saranam Vraja, he says. That is the Sharanagati. So Sharanagati Margam is the best Margam. Bhagavan does all, he's such a great salesman. He shows you all bad things first. Right? Because, if you salesperson, if you go, if I show my best product to you first, you will never buy it. Or if you want to buy it, you will give me the cheapest price for it. Right? I want the best product for the cheapest price. That's how you'll act, right? So he doesn't want to do that. He shows you all the difficult, all the, in his mind, it's also there, right? He shows you all at first. No, I can't do it. No, I can't do it. No, I can't do it. Then he shows the best one. Towards the very end, one shlokam, Sarvadharman Pratyaj Mamekam Saranam, we can do an entire lecture on it. So, that is Sharanagati Marga. So, the Tayar actually goes one level further down. Taittiriya Upanishad actually gives a clue. Acharya Priyadanamahritya Prajadantum Mam Vyavachedsi. We do this thing at temple every Abhishekam time. We chant this. Satyanna Pramatitavyam. We go through all that stuff, but there is a very important thing. It says, Acharya Priyadanamahritya Prajadantum Mam Vyavachedsi. What this means, and this is Apriya Pradalacharya takes this and then creates it in Tamil. But anyway, what this thing says is, if you have your Acharya, his blessings, and he looks at you and says, this is my student, I have Abhimanam on this guy, forget about everything. Bhagavan will take that person immediately, because there is no other option for the Lord. Because Acharyan is somebody, is actually Lord's Pratinidhi in the face of the earth, on the face of the earth. So, Bhagavan has no other choice. That's the pratham that he's taken. So, if he says, that's the Lord, and you go follow his feet, that's it, you take it. So, that is the fourth method, fifth method. Actually, that all Prapanna Jatis, us, have taken up. So, because Ramanuja himself says, why did he, this is done by every Acharya, not just Ramanuja. Ramanujacharya, as well as Swami Desikan, as well as Manovala Mamanigal, everybody, in fact, Manovala Mamanigal in this Yatiraja Vimshati says, I have not done karma, I have not read through scriptures, all those things I have not done. If I had, because he goes to him and says, Yatiraja, please help me. He says, why should I help you? You go to Raghunath, I cannot give you mukti. He is the one who gives mukti. You go to him. He says, if I had done all that, why would I come to you? I have not done anything, that's why I am coming to you. So it's like, we know that we cannot, if those stalwarts are saying this, they are all the same, they have not done anything. So the point is, the fifth path is basically Acharya Priyadanam. So you catch out of your Acharya, through him, you can attain the mukti. This Aandal catches hold of. And in every, in fact, in her path, she makes two pasaras. One is Tirupavai, Nachiyar Tirumozhi. In Nachiyar Tirumozhi, she actually says, my father, whoever he shows as the Lord, I'll fall on his feet. So she actually shows this exact thing that's been talked about in Prabhupada, concept. So anyway, so that's the path that is shown. So if you look at our sampradaya, leave everything alone. Ours is a sanatana dharma. It's not, the other term that they use is dharma. Please be conscious of these terms. We use them very loosely. We just throw, this is my madam, this is my, kulam, gotram, all that. We just throw things at, realistically speaking, that's, ours is the way of living. Sanatana dharma, that's all there is to it. Because they heard everything from the, as Vedas, and they composed it, and then they gave it out as, okay, do these things, this is how you should lead your life. That's why it is called Sanatana Dharma. There is no Hinduism, all these things that we do. It's all, we'll not go there. Especially, people here, because many of you or Ramanuja's devotee. Swami Ramanujacharya is a proponent of one of the philosophies of it, which is Visishta Advaita or Sri Vaishnavas within that. There are other Visishta Advaitas also, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, there are other Vaishnavas too. So Sri Vaishnavas, that's our Acharya Kula Parampara. So anyway, the fast forwarding that, enough said about the Andal, her birth and everything. Tirupavai came out. We already looked at the Sthala Purana. So in Tirupavai, every day, if you look at Tirupavai, the way it is broken down, basically it is actually split into which means 5 times 5 plus 5. So 5 times 5, the last 5 is she basically comes out as her own self and talks about it. The first 5 is the 5 Margam that I talk about. Okay? First Saranagati being the last 5. And then there's one more thing in the Shastra that is really important for us to learn, and I'll connect Tirupavai to that because I think in the time that we have, it's the best way to deal with the Tirupavai subject, because every shloka will take one day. The concept is Prapatti, Sharanagati. So Tayar shows Sharanagati through Tirupavai, how you can attain that. So that's what she does. How she does is what we can learn from this. Somebody asked, she's 5 years old. How did she get this? Did somebody just write it down for her and she got it? No, actually, it's not the case. She actually did it. There are lots of proof for that too, but I'm just saying it. In fact, enjoy Paduttalai Andalai. And why he says that is because of the following. There is, I told you before, right? All the Jivatmas are Striling. Bhagavan is the only Purushan. Purushan, Uttara Purushan, Uttama Purushan. Bhagavan is only Uttama Purushan. Purushottaman, Purusha Uttaman, Uttama Purushan. Whichever way you want to call it. So it's the superlatives. Tara, Tama, you said, heard about this? Anyway. Tara is ground. Tama is kind of mezzanine. Uttama is. So that's the superlatives, degrees. So Bhagavan is Uttama Purushan or Purushottama. He's the only one. Yeah, so in Tirupar, when Tayar comes out, Sridevi comes out, she immediately goes and sits in his barbam and then this all the people there, they wonder, this person does not have any lajja. So many Purushas are standing here. She's going and climbing in his heart and Alinganam Bhagavan and then going and sitting there. Does she not have any lajja? So there, Parasara Bhatta says, in the women's Goshti, where is the lajja? Basically what he's saying is, all the Jivatma that is assembled here, they're all, female. It's all Striling. Where is the question of another Purushan? Who is? Show me. So anyway, the Prapatti, how it is connected is, our scriptures basically divides the life into 7 parts. The first one is called Pedai, and then the second was Pedumbai, Mangai, Madandai, and then it actually divides it into 3 more: Aribai, Teribai, Peridambai. So basically these are 7 divisions. The Pedai Paruvam, or the first stage, that is for everybody, and not just for the girls, for everybody. Pedai Paruvam is between 5 and 7. Pedumbai is from 8 until 12. Mangai is the 13th, only the 13th year is Mangai. So now you see, people use the word Mangai just all over the place. Madandai is there from 14 through 18. Then 19 through 25 is Teribai, Aribai. Then 25 to 32, Perivai. And then 32 and forward, Peridambai. This is how Vedas divided the life of the Jiva. Right? So, this 7, why it is divided like this? In every one of this stage, if your spiritual life, this is not our age. No, in a dog's years, we are like 1,000 years old. In spiritual life, these are all divisions. In the first, between 5 and 7, you should learn as much about the Lord, as much concept about the Lord as possible. If you do, it will last through the other cycles of yours and get you where you need to be. By the time you're paid and unpent, you can surrender yourself. That's the idea. And what are those 7 stages, and what are the 7 nilai? Nilai is the stage in your spiritual growth. The first one, I'll just read it out to you. It's Abhilasha. And I'll give you the meaning of this thing too. It's actually, it's important. And again, these words, we use them loosely. And I'm sure you've heard about all these words, mentioned, so just pay a little more attention. Abhilasha, Chintanam, Anusmriti, Icha, Ruchi, Parabhakti, Paramabhakti. So, Abhilasha is the first stage. Abhilasha is actually, it's like window shopping. You go somewhere and you look at something, oh, I like that. Right? And then you forget it. And so, that's the first introduction of something into your system. That's all Abhilasha is. Now you think about how you use the word Abhilasha. That's just something, it comes into it. And then I don't think about it. Then Chintanam. Chintanam is the thing that I've seen through window shopping. It doesn't come to me all the time. It's suddenly when I'm sitting doing something, it comes to my mind. And it happens to us, right? That is called Chintanam. And for a few seconds it lasts. Oh yeah, I need to do something about it. And you forget it again. You're doing other chores and you forget and you do other things. Then Anusmriti. Anusmriti is now that thing that appeared to you once starts appearing often. More often than you wake up with it, then you do something, you forget it, and then it occurs to you sometime in the mid-afternoon, then you have coffee and do something, you forget it, and then again, it appears to you overnight. So the frequency increases. That is Anusmriti. Icha is basically now, my mind is made up, I need this. That is Icha. So now think about it, right? Anusmriti, Icha. Icha is where I need this. That is the state where Icha is. After Icha, then the next one is Ruchi. Ruchi is, now that I want it, I'm trying to find out how to get it. Right? What are the ways? And now I'm looking at, if it is, some spiritual concept like this, then looking into the scriptures and, looking at who else has done some pramacharma and stuff. So Ruchi is basically that. It could be any other thing too. So these are all applicable to any other thing that you do in life and obtain in your life. Right? So basically, these are all concepts. And in Ruchi, you also find out what are my obstacles. Right? Not only, how do I get it, but what are the things that I need to get rid of so I can get it. Or maybe I need to earn some money. Maybe I need to do 3 shifts to earn more money. All these things. And then it comes to the Parabhakti. Parabhakti is a state. This is purely for in spiritual life, right? Parabhakti is a state where when I get this, maybe I have this iPad that I really wanted to have, and somebody showed it to me. As long as I used to have it in my hand, I'm happy. The moment I lose it, I'm unhappy. And I get it back, I'm happy. So that stage is actually Parabhakti, which is, it's ups and downs, right? I can go to the temple, I see the Lord, I'm happy. I go home, I don't see him anymore, I'm not happy. So that stage of a bhakta is that Parabhakti. Paramabhakti is the next stage, which is I absolutely cannot. It's called the Vishlesham and Samslesham in Sanskrit. But, fast forwarding it, I cannot bear the separation. I have to have it. This is it. And so I will even give up my life for that. So basically, you do the Atma Samarthana. Okay, that stage is the Paramabhakti stage. Parabhakti, Paramabhakti. So these are the, and then in Paramabhakti, where if you look at the Vedas, it says Soshnate Sarvan Kaman Saha Brahmana Prasthita. So you become one with the Lord, and then you go and you can talk about all this concepts. The reason I say this is Aandal actually broke the this thing in these 7 parts. She starts with Margaret Tingle. And I'll just give you a brief on that. Margaret Tingle, she starts off, the first thing is to really, Margaret Masam itself is, like I said, Masana Margasisham, Uttamana Masam. Tingle, she also talks about Tingle. Tingle is actually moon. Tingle is also month. So lunar month. She is trying to wake up a lot of people through this, right? Margaret Tingle, Madinarendra Annala, Neerada Purvi. Neerada Purvi. She's actually, if you look at all these words, they look simple. Neerada, what Neer, what Ada, what are you talking about? You think in Nandavrajam, in December right now, it will be cold. You think all those Gopastris went to do snanam at this time in the morning and then they did all this thing? Think about what she's really Neerada here is. Neerada is really to become one with the Lord, to get deep into the ocean in His thoughts. So that's what she talks about. Neerada Polvino Neri, Chirmal Kumar Padi, Selvat Chirmirgha, she's collecting everybody. Selvat Chirmirgha, very important. Chirmir, female. I mean, that feminine gender is who she's calling. She's not calling any male because there is nobody to call. Selvat Chirmirgad. Selvat Chirmirgad. She says Selvam because you own the Lord. You own it, but you don't know you own it. Selvat Chirmirgad. Kurver Kodindor, then he goes Kurver Kodindor, Nandagovan Kumaran. He is the one to attain. Yeraram the Gani Soda Lanchingam, Karmeni Singan, Kadavayim Pulvata, Narayan. The last 2 padams are the most important. Narayanane. Namakke Parayatma. If you don't know anything, if you don't have to learn anything at all in Tirupati, just learn these 2, that's it. She uses the word Narayanane, Namakke. These 2 are regular Tamil words, which is Ekaram means, when you put the Ekaram, nobody else. Narayanane. She could have said Narayanan, Namakka Parayatma. That means somebody else could also Parayatma. Narayanane, Namakka Parayatma. There's a reason for that. And then she goes that Narayanane is actually singular. Notice that? Singular. Namakke Parayatma. Namak is plural. Singular, plural. So, this is the concept of Visishtadvaita. If you think about it, Atma is many. Paramatma is one. Okay, so right from the get-go, she does not miss the beat. Right from the get-go, Narayanane Namakke Parayatharvan Paror Guha Padindirvan. This is got Tirumantram, this has got everything. First Shlokam has got everything in it. All the concepts of Vaishnavism, Visishtadvaitam, it has the concept. I'll tell you this Narayanane, and I think that will, then we'll fast forward to other things. In Sanskrit, Ra, the word Ra, Ring Shaye, means to kills, kills. Ring Shaye, Shaye to spoil, to go away, to not exist, right? That is Ra. Na Ra means that does not go away. So Nara, therefore, is the Jivatma. What doesn't go away? Jiva. You cannot burn, you cannot, Bhava says, right? That's, so Nara is actually that. In Sanskrit, the Vyakaran, if you look at the grammar, more of that is Nara. Nara is what? Nara is many. Okay? Then the superlative of that is, so Nara could be 10 people, 20 people, 30 people. Naraha is many. Kuta Kurma, Teral, many. So it's not one Nara, it's not one Nara, Naraha, many Jivatmas are there. Okay? Not only people who live here, everybody, including Brahma, Shiva, everybody. All those are Nara. Okay? So it's all, everybody comes out of that. In fact, including Tayar, they come into that Nara Shakti. That's why Narayanan does not have, if you just say Narayana, that is enough. You don't even need to say Sri Narayana, Shiva Narayana Moram. I'm not going to say that, but anyway, the concept is Narayana word itself actually has Sri also in it. So that Naraha. Naraha, Ayanam. Ayanam means refuge, to give refuge. So one who gives refuge to all these Naraha, and the one who's holding them or
Bears them.
bears them. That's also I know. Basically, he's the refuge. That's a better word to use, I guess. So that Nara, so there are two words. Naraha, Ayanam. Ayana, na is a nakara. Nails, cut, na. Okay. So when you combine these two words, Sandhi Vichit, when two words combine in Sanskrit, it should have really become Narayana. But it is actually called Narayana. You get that? So, there is a reason for that. Narayana, whenever the Sanskrit rule is, when two words join like that, don't not go to the grammar, this is not a grammar class. The rakaram, nara, if it ends with the rakaram, and then the next one starts at the nakaram, then the Sandhi change creates the nakaram into a nakaram, and it can only mean that one person. It cannot mean anybody else. So you cannot find, because it only says Jivatma's refuge. I can call Brahma as Jivatma's refuge. But no. Who is that refuge? You go back to Rishchate Lakshmi's Patnyam. Vedas have given us all the help, because otherwise everybody will be dividing everything else. Rishchate Lakshmi's Patnyam. Who is Lakshmi's Patnyam? He did not say who is Purusha. He did not go on beating around the bush as this guy is Narayana, Brahma Narayana. No. Shivashta Narayana. It sounded confusing. But then it came right back saying Rishchate Lakshmi's Patnyam. Who is that guy? Lakshmi's husband. So there is no doubt in anybody's mind who that person is. So that's how the Narayana Shabdam, which can only denote one person, right? And who is he? He is Lakshmi's Chapan. So that Narayana name is only one who can give refuge. In his, we are all part of him. It's just that we don't know him, is what she understands. So that is the important word there, Narayana. Namakke, which is the other part of the saying. Right? All the Naraha, Kutam, Namakke, right? So, this is, if you know this much, then you have learned the concept. Now, the reason Daya was so effective is because children who are that age, when you teach them, they have, for Sharanagati, there's one condition. Pandra is easy. Doing Sharanagati is very easy. But sticking to it, or really the biggest obstacle to that, all the yogams we saw, Karma Yogam, Jnana Yogam, Bhakti Yogam, we saw what the obstacles there are. The obstacle for Sharanagati is Mahavishwasa. If you don't have Vishwasa, it's useless. You cannot do Sharanagati. You cannot do Sharanagati without your heart in the right place, without 100% giving up. So that children get, we don't. That's why Aandal in that age, being a girl herself, at that age, she was able to get that fast and able to do Prapatti and Mahan Sanugram. Otherwise, if you look at Tirumasi Alvar, he lived for 4,700 years. That's what they said. So if he lived for 4,700 years to get to there, but Aandal lived only for 5 years, actually between 5 and 7. What is it? Why 7 years for him, for her, and 4,700 for him? Nobody knows. Yappa Bhagavan Ulugura, you just take moksha and go. That's it. That's how it works. And that is, Swami Desikan says that is actually a varadanam for us, because if there is somebody above him, see, Bhagavan is Swatantra. That's why he is able to do that. Nobody is there to question him. If there is somebody there to question him, then we may not even get any moksha or anything like that at all. You need somebody who is Paratantra. Swatantra. We are all Paratantras. So if he wants, He'll give it for 7 years if he wants. Why did he chose those 10 people and made them oilers, not us? That's just the way it is. So anyway, that's the first sloka. Then from there until 15th sloka, you'll see that the sloka, the first 5, I should say, she tells you how to do the noble. So you go through there all the way to the she is basically saying all that. She just is teaching how the Managari Nobu has been conducted. That in fact it is equal to Vedam is what I said before, right? It is actually called Goda Upanishad. So we don't have to go through this. This thing is so. How do you do the Goda Upanishad? I mean, how do you conduct yourself to do this Yajna? First 5 slokams you get that, and then in 10 slokams she's waking up somebody. The idea of that is that she's basically waking up every one of the senses, the 10 senses. Karma Indriyam, Jnana Indriyam. Karma Indriyam, all the ones that we have, eyes and right. Those are 5. And then Jnana Indriyam, the perception, right? Eyes, smell, the taste. So basically she's waking up Manas, Buddhi, she's waking up all those things, all 10. That's what happened between that and 16. And then, once she's woken them all up, she's collecting everybody and saying, let's all go and wake up. Who? Wake up the Lord. Right? So there are 3 pasurams there. That one is very important because all these Gopas 3s that she's waking up, they all go to who? An Acharya. And if you look at that particular Pausaram, she's basically talking about Vail Kapur. Who is that Vail Kapur? Who is the gatekeeper? Vail Kapur is gatekeeper. Gatekeeper is the Acharya. So she uses all the words of Gopas 3 and but she's actually giving us concepts. So the concept there is Acharya. You go to the Acharya. The Acharya then wakes up, opens the door. He doesn't do anything. Vail Kapur is not going to give you moksha. Just opens the door, that's all he does. But he's needed, otherwise you can't go anywhere. So that's the 16th Bhaskara. And then you'll see 3. The first one, Nappine Virati, she wakes her up. So Sri Devi, Bhudevi, Neela Devi, all 3 of them, he wakes her up. This is what she does in the next 3. After she wakes her up, and these all Unduvadalitran, you guys have right? Unduvadalitran, Ovada, Todan, Nagomar, Nagomar, Nappinai, Gandam. Look at the word. Gandam. Gandam means
fragrance.
Gandam, Kavalum, Kurali, Kadai, Diravai. So who is she waking up? The person who was So you have to keep all these things. If you put them all in place, then you know that's what she's happened. That's what she's doing. That's who she's waking up. So she wakes up all those 3. Unduvadalitran, Oda, Nandomal, Napina, Gandam, Government, Goli, Kadam, Goli, Manavi, Pandavel, Algal, Quirin, Pandar, Umitran, Depada, Shendamare Kayal, Sira, then she goes Kutu and Kay, Hotel, and the Panjam, Mary, Napina Virati, where, anyway, let us skip to that because I will go to another story. Nappine Virati with her beauty. I told you, right? Ikshusara Sravande, Yamurta Shakara, we went through that thing. With her beauty, what she does is it's like Bahana had some drinks. Okay, that's the best way I don't know how else to say it. Actually, that's how he says it. So when she's around, because he's looking at her, she's so beautiful, it's like he's drinking that somanasam through her, and then his eyes are all, not, what I mean. So when we go in front of him, with that, he's in half thing, right? Whatever she's going to say, Purushakaram Mani, yeah, this guy is a good guy. He says he's going to say, he's good? Okay, fine, go. That's what's going to happen. So that's what Dappine Virati's work is. That's why she goes and wakes her up. And then she wakes Balarama and everybody, and then only Bhavan. So see the sequence in which she does it. And then, so these are all, the ways of getting through him. And then when she wakes him up, Mari Malai Uranjil, Manik Kirandaram, Siri Singam, Haru Priti Viditin, Bhavan, Avalahan Rakana. And then when he walks, everybody is silent. Mari Malai Uranjil, Manik Kirandaram, Siri Singam, Haru Priti Viditin, Very Very Ponga, Padam Pay, Ti Viditin. Bhavan Patarna, he can burn you like that. But now he's Sudarshan. He is now all set, right? He's coming up like a Raja. Here, because he is surrounded by his ministers, who are ministers, all the acharyas, he has to, act like, he has to be like a king, right? He cannot be like a, hey, come here, right? He has to use a different language. He has to be regal. He has to be royal. He has to show that he has to have the miracle. And with that, he actually walks. And then he sits in the throne. So, and then, Adila Patarna, basically, Abhimana Bhangamai, basically, with all our egos and everything down, we were coming down to you and all this stuff, right? There, that particular Marivala Manjil is a very beautiful pasaram. I have to say this. The Singam that they talk about, the lion, there are two Kita is small brute insect. They are on the ground, and there are two mountains. On one side of the mountain, these two Kitas are there. There is a big valley, and there is a mountain on the other side. Right? These two insects are talking to each other, saying, "You know what? That mountain looks so beautiful. If only we could go there." The other one says, "Are you mad? How are you going to go? If you walk all your life, you will walk 5 feet. How are you planning on going there? There's no way." He says, "I have a way of doing this." He says, "Hey, you're just kidding. There is no way. You cannot do it." He says, "Yeah, there is a way. I'll show you. I'll show you how I'm going to do it." So what happens is, so this lion, after it wakes up, what does it do? It just does all the stretching, right? That's what she's describing. After stretches, then it goes and does whatever it does. It jumps and whatever the lions would do. There, before this lion jumps from this mountain to the other mountain, the other side of the mountain, the small Kita, what does it do? It just goes and sits on its feet. And when this lion goes, just dives, jumps across the mountain, goes to the side, it gets down and says, "See, I told you I can do this." This one was trying to go down, all the way down, and then come up on its own. He said, "I never said I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to take his help and do it." So this lion is like an Avanajacharya for us. You cannot cross this samsara, this sky, this valley. If you try, keep trying, you will go 5 feet. You will not go anywhere. But all you have to do is forget about everything. And this is, they call it like Marja monkeys. Monkeys, you've seen how the little monkey catches hold of the monkey, just a deer like it catches hold, right? And monkey will jump all over the place. That's what it says. Just like that, have 100% faith. Just go and sit on Acharya's feet. He will take you there. That's what the inner meaning of that particular passaram is. After that, anyway, once Taya sees him in that Simhasanam, then she sings Pallandu for him. Under Volhamandadi Potri, Center Mithanalagi Septacharal Potri. So these are all Pallandu. There is so much to say about these things, but I'll just skip again. And then after doing the Pallandu, then it becomes pretty obvious that Bhavan is going to do. We have come here with all the Ahankara, Mamakara, everything gone, and you are our only savior. She does full prapatti to him. So in Kudara Ilimchi Govinda, it's actually called don't know if you heard these words. I'll just go really quick on this. I think it's time to do this. I don't know if you've heard about the concept called Sayujya Moksha at all. So basically, all these kids that are learning
Pragya.
they are learning this. In module 2, they are learning this. So see, good thing that we are teaching these kids right now. Samyapatti is Samama Moksha Murti, which means it is said that when you become one with the Lord at Paramadam, you actually end up getting Shankha Chakram, 4 arms like him, you look like him, you get all the things, all the akaram like God. That's why Kudare Limshir Govinda Undanne Padi Paramani Yambaram Sammanam Yambaram Nadam Parisa Shudame, Tode Sevipushi, he asks everything. Parame and Pagalum Yanum, Ari Udupom, Madantane, Parshur. So, and the Akaram, the Shakrapam that she is talking about is Bhagavan himself, to enjoy himself. Enjoy him. So it is said that when Jivatma attains moksha, it will be welcomed by Amanavan, one of the person who pulls you out of the Viraja river. And then he gives the akar. When you get the akar, like Bhagavan, Samamma akar, then they will put you all, they'll put all the avarnams. They'll make you look frank, they'll give you everything, just like the Lord. And then you will be taken to the Lord. And the Lord will put you on his thoda here, and then will give you a nice hug, wherever you will do all the things that you would do to your child. And then, so that is some, that is how much she talks about here. In the next one, that is, after having attained that, then you want kaikari. You want to do Nirantarama kaikari. And the Nirantarama kaikari is the next one, that is called Sayujya Moksha. That is what you really want. Samyapati you will get. After Samya, you get the Samama, Illa Kachal Kapama. Moksha to the second stage is Sayujya. That's where, you could be given a job there to do Bhagavan's, you can be Bhagavan's Visiri, or you can be Dhupam, or you can be Balagata, or you can be whatever the job, it could be Nikodagani. So you get that particular thing, and you basically do that. And that's that's why these passages are basically rendered more than once. So if you connect all these things back to the 7 stages, Parabhakti, Paramabhakti, and Anuruddha. So, and the last one, if you see, is where you've given up everything and you've become one with him. And then in the last two, sorry. That is the one where she's speaking from as her own self. Till that point, even Chitran Chiragala, that's a very important pasaram, where again, like the first executive summary, if you were to call the first one as executive summary, the Margaret Tingal, this one is the final summary. Right? Chitran Chiragala is the final summary. Chitran Chiragala Undane Sevdun, Tavare, Adi, Potrum, Mudugana, Petrami, Tutu, Perandani, Kutavana, Try Parabon, Underground Govinda, Etrakum, Yerekum, Utomi, Urake, Namachim. She goes back into the same thing. Where you are, there, you are the only refuge, you are the only thing for all of us. That's what she said. Yeah. Now I have found out that my purpose is to do Kaikaryam. In Karabhaya Principalship, that's the Sayujya Moksha, right? Now, please do not change this. That's what she's asking. Anyway, so like I said, that's the executive summary, and this is the final, parting summary. And then finally she says, I am Gola Devi who was created. And the last shloka is the only one that she says, I am her own self. So anyway, I thought the concept hopefully, we touched upon the karta, right? Vishaya, that's called Kartru Vailakshanyam, Vishaya Vailakshanyam, Prabandha Vailakshanyam. Although Prabandha Vailakshanyam we just went through like this, there's so much to say in the Prabandha Vailakshanyam, but we'll just skip through that. To our best extent, we tried this. So, what I wanted to do is, end with. End with one Mangal Shloka. Yeah.
ஆயிரம் சூழவரம் செய்து நாரண நம்பி நடக்கின்றான் எய்தி பூரண பொற்குடம் வைத்து பூரவெங்கும் தோரணம் நாட கலா கண்டே தோழினார் நாடே வதுவை மணமென்று நேற்று வாழிக்கம பரிசுடை பந்தல்கு குழலி மாதவன் கோவிந்தன் என்பானோ காடை புகூர கனகண்டை தோழினார் இந்திரன் உள்ளிட்ட தேவர் குழா மெல்ல மந்திரன் மகள் பேசி மந்திரத்து மந்திர கோடி உடுத்து மண மாலை நந்தரி சூட கலா கண்ட தோழினார் நாத்திசை தீர்த்தம் கொணர்ந்து நலி நல்கி தோத புகுன கண்ணி புனிதனுடன் தன்னை காப்பு நான் கேட்ட கனகண்டே தோழினார் நாத்திசை தீர்த்தம் கதிரோழி தீபம் கலசமுடனே பரிசீலை மூக என்னை மதம் வந்திட்டு கொடரி மாத காயனுக்காகத்தான் கண்ட கனாவினை வேயர் புகழ் வில்லி புத்தூர் போல் போதை சொல் தூய தமிழ் மாலை இசைந்து வல்லவர் வாயும் நன்மக்களை பெற்று மகிழ்வாரே
துதித்தாள் வாழியே திருப்பாவை 30 சிப்பினாள் வாழியே பெரியாழ்வார் பெற்றெடுத்த பெண்பிள்ள வாழியே பெரும்பூதூர் மாவுனிக்கு பின்னானாள் வாழியே 143 உரைத்தாள் வாழியே உயர் அரங்கற்கே கண்ணு வந்தளித்தாள் வாழியே வருவாரம் திருவல்ல வடநாடி வாழியே வண்முதுவை நகக்கோதை வளர்ப்பதங்கள் வாழியே மகதம் கோஷலேந்திராய महनीय गुणात्मये चक्रवर्ति तनूजाय सार्वभौमाय मंगलम् वेदांत वेद्याय मेघश्यामलमूर्तये पुंसा मोहन रूपाय पुण्यश्लोकाय मंगलम् विश्वामित्रान्तरङ्काय मिथिलानगरीपते भाग्यानां परिपालाय भव्यरूपाय मंगलम् पितृभक्ताय सततं भ्रातृभिः सहसितया नन्दिताखिललोकाय रामभद्राय मंगलम् त्यक्तसाकेतपासाय चित्रकूटविहारिणे सेव्याय सर्वयमिनां हीरोधाराय मङ्गलं सौमित्रिणा च जानक्या चापबाणविदारिणे संसेव्याय सदा भक्त्या स्वामिने मम मङ्गलं दण्डकारण्यवासाय खण्डितामरशत्रवे रुद्रराजाय भक्ताय मुक्तिदायास्तु मङ्गलं सादरं शबरीदत्तफलं मूलाभिलाषिने सौलभ्यपरिपूर्णाय सत्त्वोधृष्टाय मङ्गलं हनुमत्समवेताय हरीशाभीष्टदायिने वायुप्रपतनायास्तु महाधीराय मङ्गलं श्रीमते रघुवीराय सेतुल्लिङ्गितसिन्धवे जितराक्षसराजाय रणधीराय मङ्गलम् असाध्यनगरीं दिव्याम् अभिषिक्ताय सीतया राजाधिराजराजाय रामभद्राय मङ्गलम् कवितार्किकसिंहाय कल्याणगुणशालिने श्रीमते वेङ्कटेशाय वेदान्तगुरवे नमः वेदान्तगुरवे नमः वादित्र्यविशुरूभङ्गपञ्चाननपराक्रम श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथाय चिरं विजयतां भुवि यस्मादेव मया सर्वं शास्त्रमग्राहिणान्यतः तस्मै वेङ्कटनाथाय मम नाथाय मङ्गलम् आழ்வாரும் பெருமானார் சோதேசிகன் திருவள்ளேசனம் ஆழ்வாரும் பெருமானார் ஜீவ திருவள்ளேசனம் ஓம் ஜெய் ஸ்ரீமன் நாராயண